Thank you, thank you, thank you. We just had over 4,000 new views on our podcast in the past 2 weeks.
No way.
And that's in addition to the thousands and thousands of people who have subscribed to our podcast.
Very cool.
That's why I say thank you. And welcome to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. It's okay to be addicted to Odyssey House Journals, right? I'm Randall Carlisle, your host, and Nicole Slack is my co-host, and Jason is our guest today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
This is one of the most watched and listened to podcasts dealing with that word I just used, addiction and recovery. And we like to have guests on Odyssey House Journals who are in the process of seeking recovery or have achieved it, or who are struggling. And the hope is to give you or an addicted loved one hope that recovery is always possible. So, and our slogan at Odyssey House, even though we don't push Odyssey House, any form of recovery is great, is we are recovery, and that's what we focus on. So, Jason, you're in the middle of a program right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been in treatment?
I've been in treatment since July 25th. So just about 6 months, almost 7 months now.
It's a good long time.
It has.
What brought you to Odyssey House or any kind of treatment? What brought you to? A lot of people always want to know, especially the people I deal with who have addicted loved ones, is how can I get my addicted loved one into treatment? What prompted you?
What caused me to seek out help is this is not the first TC I've been in. I've been in another one, so I tried to try some different, a different treatment center, and what the biggest reason is like my family completely like cut ties with me. So like I was out on the streets, homeless. I made about a week before I got tired of living on the streets. So I had to humble myself and go back and ask my family for help. And then they proceeded to take me to the receiving center, where upon going to the receiving center, they set me up with Odyssey House, and here I am now.
And he referred to the word TC. Nicole, describe what a TC is.
A TC is a therapeutic community. I would say it's different than just, I guess I really don't know what many different recovery centers look like, but a therapeutic community is where the clients run it. The clients help each other. They hold each other accountable. They are involved in all decisions that happen in the house, and the staff is there to be the rational authority, but the community runs it.
Which doesn't mean that we don't have professional people there.
Well, we still have our therapists and case managers, and they're the rational authority. They're the ones that keep us on track. But for the day-to-day basic, teaching us our life skills and the just goings on, if that's a word, of every day would be with the clients.
And the reasoning behind that, because sometimes people will criticize our program and say, you got a bunch of drug addicts dealing with a bunch of drug addicts. And the theory behind that is what?
Teaching us we learn from each other. We hold each other to higher standards. We know the BS behind excuses that we all say and do. And it's funny to watch new clients come in and you're like, I probably did that too. But you're holding each other accountable. You know where they're coming from. It's just, I think it's beneficial.
I think it makes tons of sense. Does it work for you, Jason? I mean, would you rather, obviously, it's great to meet with a therapist, okay? But in the day-to-day activities, you're dealing with other people who can call you out on your crap if need be.
The first time I went through the TC, like I was the problem child. You know, I'd be corrected on my actions and completely miss the point. It still happens, you know, being in Odyssey House. Like sometimes I miss the point with like, you know, the driving mishap that I had. Like I was missing the point. I got defiant, and just this time through the this TC, I decided to do exactly what the other TC was telling me to do, why I was pushing so hard. And it's made my program a lot easier. It's like I'm not missing the points. I might miss the point for like maybe like a day or two, and then that next thing you know, it clicks.
I watched you go. I don't know if you want to share it or not. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it was to you. The driving incident. Do you want to just briefly describe that?
Yeah, briefly describing it, I ran her a yellow light. Where my mind went is I was the right way. I mean, I looked to see if there was someone beside me, because if I stomped on the brakes, I would hit the car behind me. If I would gas, I would have hit the car turning. It just happened to be that there was an executive behind that car that was turning. His perception was that I ran the red light or yellow light. But my perception was I was just trying to keep the van safe because I saw the lady on her phone not paying attention. And our reality is, like, I got so caught up in my, like, anger and frustration, like, I got pulled up on this, and I just started missing the point. It took me, like, over the weekend to finally realize it. And then it was just my roommate decided to say, you know, this is an active intervention. This is going to hold you from, transitioning out. Like, dang, you're right. So I just, went online, read a couple things about yellow lights, and came up with a paper and just moved past it. And I decided to let it go.
And people watching might say, "Boy, that sounds like a minor thing to get upset about." Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Looking back on it,
I definitely was caught up in my head in that moment.
But
I think it's a good example, though, of like how overwhelming emotions can feel and can get, and how you can just blow things out of proportion because of how you feel. If anything, it's just a good learning lesson of like, I need to like take a step back, not be that upset. I think it's just another lesson in Odyssey. I always say Odyssey doesn't like teach you these rules to get through the house. It teaches you rules to get through life.
right.
If you did that at work, you can't go yell at your boss. No, it was a yellow. You're saying it was a red, but I know it was a yellow. You just have to take it for what it is, learn some things, and move on, right?
Yeah, in this moment, like, I didn't realize how big an ego I actually had. And that ego got put in check in that moment. But, like, ever since that incident, though, like, I mean, I've been corrected, like, once or twice, and it's been nothing. Like, I learned to remove my emotions from the problem and just focus on the problem and just move past it, and not to dwell on it, because I didn't like how I felt when I was missing the point. Not at all.
And Nicole, you bring up a great point. I'm an old fart here, and I've been in the TV industry for decades, and I can't tell you how many times there were situations where I felt that I was totally unfairly singled out. And in my early days, it's almost like going through a treatment program. In my early days, I would fight like hell, and I'd call people names, and I'd fly off the handle, and it doesn't work. It's just not the way to deal with things in a business setting.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do, is to get people to fit in. You don't have to go along with all the crap in society, but to fit in a business working kind of situation. So hopefully that's something you use when you get out. What was your drug of choice? When did you start, and how did that progress?
The first drug I had, I was the kind of person that would do anything. Like, I mean, I started smoking weed when I was like 9.
9?
Yes.
Smoking weed?
Mm-hmm. I had my best friend at the time, like, we walked in on his brother, had a little party in there, and like, at this moment, like, it took me a long time to realize this. Like, that was like dangerous for me. Like, we just wanted to be like his brother. Like, because he had all these friends, like, wanted to be cool like him. But in all reality, we were 9. Like, my friend's parents weren't aware of this. My parents weren't aware of this. I hid this for years. My parents didn't know I was a drug addict till like my late 20s.
Really?
Then it turned out to be I started drinking around high school. Started drinking and still smoking weed. I'd go through in and out of getting sober, like, over the summer or a year or two. Then I just meet up with my friend again, and next thing you know, it's off to the races. Then then around my mid-20s, I started doing pills heavily. And then,
Opioid pills.
yeah, like lower tabs and stuff like that. And then that just progressed. Next thing you know, it was cocaine. Next thing you know, it was meth and heroin. And then most recently, it would be fentanyl.
So you've done fentanyl. Didn't that, a lot of people, you read every day how people overdose on fentanyl because you don't know what the dosage is of what you're doing. Did that scare you at all?
Not too much. Like I just in my mind, like I was getting high. Like I wasn't even worried about it. I mean, there's been several times like where me being an Eagle Scout and stuff like that.
You were an Eagle Scout?
Like I know how to do CPR. I mean, I saved several people from overdosing just by knowing CPR.
Huh.
Then I know I've also had to give people Narcan all the time, like a couple times. Like it was scary, like some of those moments. But you got to learn how to not freak out when someone's starting to do it, and you just gotta gotta bite that bullet and call 911 while someone knows how to do CPR, so you're not gonna lose this person.
But I would think that if you've been exposed to all that, you'd be scared to do it.
In that moment, like I was at the bottom of my addiction. In that moment, like I just did not care, and that's scary. I look back at this now, and that's scary. That how bad I just didn't care.
And see, that's something I hope I wish more people could realize, because if you're a person who hasn't dealt with addiction and you've never been in that spot, you'd watch what Jason just said and say, that doesn't make any sense, right? But there's a certain insanity to addiction that your brain's telling you it's okay to do,
And like I mean, I've done fentanyl for over the last year, like quite regularly, and like my mind is like, oh, I can handle this one. I can handle this one. Like I myself have never overdosed, but I don't know why that is. Like I don't know if it's my size or, if I just wasn't getting. I guess I trust the people I was getting it from, and that's still like they don't know where they got it from. It's like that's where the insanity is coming in right there. And it's like I don't know why I've never overdosed myself, and it's crazy. Like
you're lucky,
and I am lucky.
And trusting a drug dealer to do the right thing is,
I would assume also by the time it gets to the person you're buying it from, that they don't know what they're getting either.
Exactly.
Do you look back and go like,
I'm surprised I'm alive.
yeah, and you've resuscitated people. That's wild.
Good.
what actually, was there a certain point? Everybody talks about stuff like a rock bottom or something. Was there a certain point that made you want to get help?
What made me want to get help is like before I ended up in Odyssey House, I was currently I was at Red Barn, and I got sober for like 2.5 years, and then all it took is my emotions to automatically cause me to go on my relapse. I got super angry with how I was released from the program. I graduated the program, but I still was released from it. I didn't like how it all went down, and I was even out of the program 24 hours before I relapsed. That's where my emotions got the best of me, 100%. Like I got so angry, and I was on my way home from work one day, and I just got this random text message from a friend I used with, like, and in this moment, like I had like $5,000 in my bank account, and it was just off to the races. Like I was mad, and I did not care. Like I wanted to I wanted to go what was safe to me, and getting high was safe for me. So just to get those emotions away just by getting high and just letting go. After doing that, I felt so much shame and like why am I throwing 2.5 years away? Like then I got depressed, and next thing you know, drugs were an everyday thing. I eventually lost my job, and then what's what happens when you lose your job? Either A, you're gonna start selling, or you're gonna start stealing stuff from people to maintain your habit, and that's exactly what I did.
So do you think things are different now? Because you were pretty upset when the light incident happened.
Red light, yellow light.
Yeah.
And we joked about it too, but you're right.
Genuinely upset.
I remember when I first wrote the paper, I literally wrote the paper in 20 minutes and see if it was going to go through, and my program manager was like, nope, do it again. It's like that, it made me more mad. So I just had to I had to put more thought into it and not make it so quick because I don't know why the paper didn't go through, but it just, the second time I did it through was a lot more. It was more thought out, I had to remove the emotions from the paper.
Did you, if you can answer this, like, you were really upset? Like, was relapse on the mind?
It came through my mind. Like, I've had thoughts of like wanting to leave in that moment, but I had strong peers that were around me that they kept pulling me in, like when I was thinking like that.
Yeah.
And just having them there, like to tell me like, hey, just calm down and sleep on it. And then over through the weekend, just quick, just my one peer and roommate, this is actually an adventure. Just get it done, like, and you can just move past it. So I just buckled down, and just did it, and
Do you
now
feel like
I don't have to worry.
learned?
I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
But it made me more aware of my emotions,
Okay.
and had several talks with my therapist. Like, man, you get angry. When you get angry, you get angry. You fall off the handle.
Yeah. I hope that this is now different, right? Like, maybe it was a good learning lesson, and maybe now that you've gone through it in a good way and didn't relapse and didn't do those things, it can be like a good first step.
It was a great step because the first half of my program, I had no acts of service, no interventions or nothing. Like, all my interventions came in the final phase of the residential program. All my navigator phases, when all these are coming, it's because I got comfortable,
Yep.
and it is what it is. It just happened.
It's probably a good thing, though, because you're going to get comfortable in life.
And that's when you get comfortable is when you're going to get caught up.
Yep.
Addiction is a complicated lifelong disease. And I can speak to that because I'm an alcoholic, so is Nicole. You're addicted to drugs. You were. And it's something, if you get comfortable, it would be easy to slip, especially with alcohol, because it's everywhere. You don't have to find a dealer. All the bars and grocery stores are dealers, I guess, for somebody with my disease. I was thinking, when you get out of Odyssey and you look back on your success, can you imagine talking to somebody who doesn't understand addiction and telling them that one of the things that was significant in you learning to control your anger was a red light, yellow light situation? It'd be like, what? Because really looking back, it's not that big of a deal, right?
It wasn't.
So how are you going to, I guess you need to remember a situation like that and then use the memory of that, like playing a tape or something, saying, this is the way to handle it when you get out and get comfortable.
That's one thing I started realizing. Like, every time I get angry, I just think about that red light incident, because then it snaps me out of my funk that I'm in, and I can just focus on the problem, why I'm getting angry, and then just move past it.
So Nicole's right that was a good experience for you, even though it didn't seem like it at the time.
I guess that's what we say is one of my aha moments finally, and it clicked.
What are you looking for in the future?
My future, like, I myself want to become a staff member at Odyssey House eventually. So I already have my application ready for my CPSS, and upon doing that, is my first step. The second step will be actually enrolling in college to get my SUDC.
So we're throwing out initials. CPSS is
Certified Peer Support Specialist.
yes, and SUDC is Substance Use Disorder Specialist.
Counselor.
Counselor.
Yeah, SUDC. Yep, counselor.
Yeah. So why would you want to work in the field?
I feel like if I'm working in the field, it will give me more connection with the sober community and giving back to people, like, because I have experience of getting sober, and I can relate to a lot of people coming through treatment. So just being connected with the community, extra eyes on me, would be actually a lot more beneficial. Because what I do for work outside of here is I'm a prep chef, cook. I'm ready for something different. I'm 4 years old. I want something that I can actually do more for the rest of my life, and not have to work myself into the ground.
And Lord knows in the restaurant business, drugs are readily available, right? And I don't mean to demean the industry, but it just seems like a lot of people have access to drugs. And that's where I got some of mine, was from servers in various restaurants. So what you mentioned your parents, and this is important to me because I facilitate a family support group, and you said they cut you off. And in this support group, we talk a lot about boundaries and enabling. Were your parents enablers that finally describe how they enabled?
They enabled me, like, I always had a place to stay over at their house. They wouldn't necessarily give me money because that bridge I cut a long time ago. But just give me a place to stay, like, all the time. Like, I mean, they caught me using a couple times at the house, and they still let it persist. And I just use them. Like, I wasn't paying for rent, and it's been that way for, like, the last 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
And what caused them to finally cut you off?
And then I just got tired of it. Like, I wasn't going anywhere. I started working, like, I was going to miss my shift because I couldn't get to the train on time. So they just said, nope, that's the last straw. Like, you need to pack your stuff and leave.
Was that hard for them?
It was hard. They had to call the cops, and then upon being removed from my parents' house, like, you know, that's when I caught paraphernalia charge at the same time, because the cops were like, you know, piece of paraphernalia fell out of my backpack right in front of all of them. In that moment, I just straight up owned it. Like, in the moment, it was like, yeah, I smoked fentanyl off of it. And the cops were like, you're going through a lot right now. They just gave me the ticket, and I had to pack all my stuff out and get it over to my friend's house, which is even more dangerous place than the being out on the streets, because there's so much drugs really available where I put all my stuff. My one friend ends up getting arrested, and all my stuff is in her house, and like I'm in treatment at the moment, so I don't know where all my belongings are at, and like having nothing, like that's why I had to finally bite. I had to humble myself and go back and ask for help from my parents, because I had no clothes. I wore the same clothes for like 3-4 days, and I have too much pride to live like that.
Humbling yourself is something I think that was hard for me when I entered a treatment program. I don't know, but, well, Nicole, you sort of accidentally ended up in a treatment program.
I was humbled. So
It is a humbling experience because you have to admit that you've got a serious problem you need to work on, right?
yeah, I did not think I had I knew I had a problem, but I was like, I'm in rehab. Like, now we're doing this, but I wonder how your relationship with your parents is now.
Oh, they come see me every weekend.
Good.
Or if not every weekend, it's every other weekend. So I built those bridges back with my family.
Good.
It's nice.
So they're going to watch this podcast.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to say to them?
I put them through a lot of stuff, and like, this is me like telling them, like, yeah, I have a problem, and now I'm actually seeking out the help to fix it.
When they do you think it's a good thing that they finally threw you out?
Yes.
Why?
Because I wasn't going anywhere. I still just, all I did is I got a paycheck and kept going to the, getting high. This time, I'm not allowed to go back to the house, so I'm being forced, it's kind of forcing my hand to actually grow up. Because
At the age of 40.
At the age of 40, yes.
Are you planning on outpatient and?
I plan on doing sober living and going through the whole process.
Very cool. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Leaving the house can be very scary.
I have a plan for that.
Good.
Stay connected with FTR, and then staying connected with the house. Like, if I find myself having some downtime, I'm just gonna go back to the house and check in with people.
Are you voyaging?
Yes, says the plan.
I love that when you voyage, you have the option to go back to the house and not be alone at home. Like, you have the option to go back and hang out and go into the facility. For those that don't know, you can leave Odyssey as a discovery and you can't go back into your facility. But when you leave as a Voyager, you can go back into the facility and hang out with the clients and talk to your therapist, and it's a really good thing. I'm happy.
There's certain levels for people who don't understand levels in the program. You guys want to explain them?
Yeah, you start out in orientation, and then you move to Compass. In Compass Senior, you start getting your job in the house. In Discovery, you do some pretty crucial assignments, I think, and then you have the option to leave on good terms, having completed the program. But if you stay and do Navigator, you can go into Voyager, which is an outpatient level. And if you do that, you can go back to the house.
And it leads to graduation as well.
It's a faster track to graduation, but longer in the house.
Right. So there's two ways you can complete the program without doing that, or you can do all this extra time and graduate.
Mm-hmm. Which typically I think helps people stay sober because it puts you longer in the house, a little more dedication and connection after you leave the house. And I think the sober living is very cool. You get those 3 months free and then 3 months at 30% of your income. And Odyssey definitely sets you up for success after.
Yeah.
It's the thing I find critical, and I presume you agree, or I'll ask you what you think about it. It's really important what you do as you're getting out of treatment and who you hang around with, because you know people who you could buy drugs from, right? What do you?
So my plan for when I finally leave, I built some good connections with the owners of Wingers. So like I'm gonna go back and work there while I'm finishing up my resident phase, the sober living phase until I finally graduate, and then that's when I'm gonna transition into looking for a staff member job at Odyssey. When I'm working at this Wingers, like my best friend and mentor is actually the one that is actually working there too. So it's going to be have an extra safety net that someone's going to pull me in if I'm being triggered. Someone to call me on my BS because he's the one I remember times at the other program when like he literally brought me to tears because he brought raw feedback to me, like. And it sucks when it's coming from your best. It's like one of your best friends. It sucks when you're getting corrected. Sure. In the middle of a big old group of men, like it sucks.
Yeah.
But he's there. He's always been in my corner. Like he's like when I had this relapse this last time before I got kicked out of the house. Like, why didn't you reach out? I would have dropped what I was doing and can't pick you up immediately. Like, why didn't you reach out? I was like, I felt ashamed in the moment. Like I felt like I since I went back to drugs, like he wasn't gonna be there to help me, and like he just straight up called me an idiot, and like I can't pick you up immediately. Like I would not let you fall down like that.
That's a really important reminder. That I did that with my sponsor, as I've stayed sober over 13 years now, and I used to call him on a regular basis because it'd be like, I want to drink, I want to forget about the problems that I'm dealing with and everything, and it was always, you got to find a different way to deal with the problems. Because the problems aren't going to go away. Neither are the drugs. But
but right now, like I built a strong relationship with a couple of the other peers that have moved on to Voyagers. Like we're still connected right now.
Cool.
So my plan is like if my mentor's not around, I still got two others right there that I can fall back to. Then I got my family. Then I got the house the house that's changing my life right now. I can always go back and ask for help if I'm struggling.
Just don't get angry.
Yeah, just right. That's going to be hard.
Yes. Jason, thank you. Our time is up. It wasn't as bad as you thought it would be.
No, I was nervous.
You didn't show it at all. Thanks for sharing it. And I hope your message gets through to some of the people watching or listening. Nicole, good to see you again.
You too.
Even without a hat, you washed your hair.
I did.
Oh, beautiful. And thank you for either watching or listening to another edition of Odyssey House Journals.